as we get ready for week number 5 of the NFL. Amani Toomer back with us here on the Sports Bash. You can listen to Amani on NBC Sports Radio, the 24/7 live sports talk network. You can listen to it at NBCSportsRadio.com. And Amani, let's jump right into what we saw Monday night with the Vikings against your former team, the Giants there. And you got to start to wonder, are there some issues with the Giants going on, or how good are the Vikings?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I didn't think the Giants really came out of that game aggressive enough. I mean, I think their whole premise going into that game was, we don't want to get Eli sacked. We're going to show all these dink and dunk passes. We're not going to let anybody get really far downfield. We're not going to take any shots. And I think that was exactly the opposite of what they should have done. They should have came out and challenged that defense, almost like they were beaten before they even started playing that game, because of the fact that they did not aggressively, in my opinion, go after that defense. They were scared of them. It's what it seemed like when the way that they were calling plays. And to me, that's it's hard for me to stomach when you lose a game because you didn't go after them. I remember we lost the Super Bowl to the Baltimore Ravens in 2001, and I felt like the same thing that they probably feeling right now is like, man, I wish we would have came in with what we do best and tried to really challenge that Ravens defense. And I look at this situation and I see similarities.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously OBJ is in the news a lot, and you played wide out in that city with that quarterback, and you're seeing what's going on there. Does it seem like there is some sort of disconnect between him and his teammates, him and Eli, him and Ben McAdoo?
I think that they all need to get together in a room and discuss what's going on. I think them going back and forth in the media is not the right thing to do, especially in New York City. You cannot let these types of conflicts that should be taken care of in the locker room and put them in front of the media, especially around here, and let people's minds get carried away with what's actually going on. Because there's too many media outlets, there's too many people with deadlines, there's too many people that want to make a sexy story for them not to dig in and put in some kind of take on it that might be totally and completely wrong. I don't know if there's a rift in that locker room because I'm not in that locker room, but from the outside looking in and from being in that locker room, it seems like this is not a relationship that is strengthening by any stretch of the imagination. There's only thing that the relationship is becoming more strained than it was at the beginning of this season.
Yeah, Amani Toomer's with us. You know Eli's personality better than anybody, probably, in this kind of situation. Is he the kind of guy that will go up to OBJ and kind of talk this out, or is he a little bit more passive, standoffish?
I don't remember him as being confrontational, but he was a younger player when I played with him, excuse me. So I don't know how he is now. He's 35 years old now. I mean, I played with him when he was in his 20s, so I can't really talk to you on what kind of leader he is now as opposed to how he was then. But when you look at what, his experience in the league and his experience in this city, it's very surprising that he would call out his player, especially his best player, by saying he needs to, become more focused. That's a sidebar conversation that he needs to have. He doesn't need to let anybody else in the media, anybody out of that locker room, they're not privy to that information and his feelings when it comes to that, because there are repercussions. Maybe Odell, he might not like that.
Amani Toomer's with us. Let's look in the Cowboys situation. Is Dallas, what's your take on Dez Bryant? I mean, is he still a superior player at that position? He's been injured a lot. I mean, do you think the injuries are going to take their toll, or do you think when he comes back he is still, a big-time wide receiver in this league? Because it seems like, they're just doing okay without him.
Yeah, I think they're doing okay without him. But, I mean, you look at their schedule, and it hasn't been the toughest. They played – the Giants, the Redskins, the Bears, and then they haven't really gotten into the meat of their schedule. And I think when they play Cincinnati next weekend, you're going to see what kind of team they really are, and that's kind of where you can really judge how good this team really is.
Yeah, a lot of stuff about him missing meetings and being late all the time. It seems like. How often does that happen? I mean, is that something that's like not surprising to you as a guy who's been in the league, or is that something that stands out?
It's surprising because of the league. When I played with Tom Coughlin and Jim Fossil, it was just something that didn't happen. Well, under Jim Fossil, if he liked you, you could miss meetings, but most times you didn't really have those types of situations. But that's an internal thing. That's another thing that if the Cowboys are okay with it, then why should anybody else care? I mean, they're their employer. I don't go to anybody else's job and tell how they should be treating their players and their athletes or their employees. I think it's totally overblown. If he misses meetings and the Cowboys fine him, what difference does it make? I really.
Well, I guess it shows some special treatment.
No. Care.
Does it show special treatment? Maybe sometimes.
But there is special treatment in the world. I mean, not everybody's treated the same, and if you think everybody's treated the same, it's just not reality.
Fair enough.
You try to treat people the same, but you have to deal with. Everybody's different. Everybody has different situations. Some people are more emotional. Some people are more cerebral. If you try to treat everybody with a broad stroke, that's not how that doesn't really bode well mostly for NFL head coaches. You look at the great Bill Parcells. He didn't treat Phil Simms the same way he treated LT. I'll tell you that right now.
I know we're short on time. I want to get you out on this one. Wentz, obviously off a bye. They, smashed Pittsburgh last week, but they run into that bye week here. What is it like? Is that a plus for a young team like Philadelphia with Wentz coming off of a bye? Or if you're young, do you want to keep rolling?
You want to keep rolling, especially because you're a rookie. I know how it is to play. I only played 8 games my rookie year, but by my 5th game, I was like, man, we've already played, 12 games because of the 4 preseason games, and I was just, it was mentally tough, and after my 8th game, I ended up blowing out my knee, but it was a tough, adjustment, and I couldn't imagine being thrust into the starting role and then having success. I mean, it must be tough, and I think that for him to get the bye week off after 3 weeks and then have, 13 weeks in a row, oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough. 13 straight weeks a game.
As Doug Peterson said today, he was there at 5:30 a.m. yet again, but we'll see if the long season catches up. Quarter poll, best team in the NFC East.
What difference does that make?
All right. Quarter poll, though, best team in the NFC East through 4 games is?
The Eagles, no problem, no question. Not even close.
All right.
Everybody else was trying to catch them. I think the Eagles and the Cowboys second. Obviously, you just go by records. But, yeah, the Eagles have definitely surprised. I think them beating Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh is going to lose to any other team in this division. So, it's going to be interesting to see how they take these next 13 weeks.
He's Amani Toomer. Listen to him on NBC Sports Radio, 24/7 live sports talk. You can listen to it at NBCSportsRadio.com. Download that NBC Sports Radio mobile app today. Take care, pal.
Thanks a lot.